Hello everyone and welcome to Inside Sports. I'm your host, Todd Blackstock. We have a great show for you today. We have a former national champion gymnast in the house to discuss a unique mobile gymnastics program that takes place all over the St. Louis area. Plus, a local basketball analyst and the president of one of the largest junior golf tours in the nation will join us to talk basketball, golf, and share with us a family tragedy that now raises awareness and hope for young student athletes. And we'll look at the Hall of Fame career of Stan Musial in our Inside Sports flashback. So stay with us for this and much more coming up next on Inside Sports. Well, joining us now is a man who's been involved in sports his entire life as a player, coach, analyst, and director. He's served as a basketball analyst with Fox Sports Midwest, as well as ESPN and KFNS Radio. He's the president of Plantations Junior Golf Tour, and at this time, we'd like to welcome Paul Ellis to Inside Sports. Paul, how are you?
Great to see you. Thank you.
Great to see you, too.
Thanks for having me.
Great. Let's talk about Plantations Golf Tour here started off. Now, you've been there since about 1997 now, and could you tell us about the tournament and what all it entails?
Well, Todd, we are the largest three-season junior golf tour. We start our season in September. We end in May. We do approximately 80 tournaments on weekends during the school year, and we do it throughout the United States.
Now, did you start off as the president back in '97, or did you take another position and kind of work your way up?
No, we actually started with my son. We were kind of looking for him to play golf after the summer was over, and we found out about Plantations. They had been around about 3 years at that time, and we started out, my wife and I, as directors in the Missouri and Illinois region. Then I became full-time about 9 years ago and took over as president 5 years ago.
What are some of the things that you've implemented along the way that helped the tournament grow so vastly into how big it is now?
We used to be basically an East Coast tour, Todd. We did tournaments up and down the Carolinas, up into New York. But since I took over, we've expanded. We've become a little more nationwide with tournaments all through the Midwest and even going out as far west as Colorado. So giving the kids more of an opportunity. And what we've done, especially in the St. Louis area, it's allowed kids who mainly just played in the summer now to play during the same time that the colleges are playing. And so our kids are being recruited more now than they were, let's say, 10 years ago when they just played summer events, because the colleges want to see what kids do in all kinds of conditions, not just when it's 80 degrees and the wind's not blowing, it's beautiful out. They want to see how a kid shoots when it's 45 degrees, wind's blowing, because this is the time of year that they play as well.
Now, expanding into 18 states, though, that should allow you a lot of southern tournaments and a lot of versatility around the nations to recruit and put on tournaments.
We do, Todd. We do a lot of stuff, obviously, in the winter time. We go south. We'll go down to Florida. We have some great tournaments. We play some great venues, too, and that's one of the things that's really helped our tour. We play at TPC Sawgrass. We had a tournament 2 weeks ago at Belle Reve here in St. Louis, and so it gives these kids an opportunity to play big-time golf courses as well.
Well, who are some of the top names that have come through St. Louis and some of the people that you're proud that have gone through the junior tour?
Well, we've had a lot of success, and I'm going to give you a few names of guys that have gone on to the PGA Tour, but the success stories in college and kids that have done well in high school are just so many to name. But one of the kids that played with us for many, many years that the local people here would know would be Scott Langley. And Scott was a high school teammate of my son's and played for 7 years on our tour and is now on the PGA Tour. Of course, he won the NCAA championship back in 2010.
No kidding. Now, how do you qualify for the Plantation Tour, or you just try out, or you just show up? How's it work?
Show up, yeah. Anybody who wants to play competitive two-day golf events, all they have to do is visit our website, pjgt.com, or call our office, which is located here in St. Louis, and we give anybody the opportunity to play competitive events. Shifting
gears here, Paul, I know you've been a basketball coach, a Little League baseball coach. I think you've been coaching since you were probably 16 in some form or another.
Yeah.
You know, Little League baseball out of Baldwin. And you coached with Charlie Spoonhauer at Southwest Missouri State University before it went to Missouri State. Can you tell us a little bit about that experience and what was Spoon like?
Oh, he was great. I mean, Todd, he's a great man, of course. We just lost him a little while back. He passed away with complications of lung disease, but Coach was a wonderful man. I was really fortunate to get to work with him, not for a very long time, but just to see him and be around him. He was a great friend and mentor.
You also coached at UMSL for a while, and tell us about your stint at Lewis and Clark.
Well, I was the head coach there for 2 years. It was really the first place to get I started at Maryville University as an assistant coach, and young snot-nosed punk head coach at 23 years old. I had no idea what I was doing. But I was there for 2 years, and that was quite an experience. And we were able to take the program from 4 wins our first year to 14 wins our second year, so we were very proud of what we did there.
No kidding. And what about your brother, Chris? I know he was a very popular coach at Parkway South for a long time, and he's been coaching forever as well. How's Chris doing? What's up with basketball and coaching?
Doing great. Well, and yeah, he's doing really well. He's the head women's basketball coach at Maryville University. They've had a lot of success. They just moved to Division II. He was Coach of the Year 2 years ago. In the very first year of eligibility, he took Maryville to the NCAA tournament. And then this year, they won the Western Division of the GLVC conference. So he's doing very, very well.
What made you want to coach? Because you started at a young age. I remember being in Little League Baseball. I played in Manchester. You were coaching over in Baldwin, and I always wanted to play on your team because you always had such passion, and you always rallied the troops around before the game, and you were hitting them ground balls, and it was really a fun thing. But you seem like you really want to give back and coach kids, and it seems like you get a lot of joy in seeing them go to the next level and succeed.
Well, Todd, you're right. I mean, that's why I think that's why you should get into coaching, and the ability to teach, and of course, the old saying, those who can't play coach. So I mean, kind of applied. Played some basketball at Parkway West, but and it's been very, very good. And now since recently, I've actually been coaching my son's team in the off season, and so that's been a lot of fun too.
I do feel fortunate I was able to play on the Baldwin Blazers for a year before you moved on into college coaching. It was one of the great years of my life. I'll always remember that.
That was a lot of fun.
Let's talk about your experience as a referee, because I know you're always kind of tough on the umpires, and I know you like to keep the referees in check during your coaching in basketball games, at least. So when you're a referee on the other side of the ball, how do you apply that to when you're coaching and you're on the other side?
Todd, I think every coach should referee and every referee should coach. And I think the whole thing would be better for everybody, because there's experiences in both that help. It helps having officiated, being a coach. It helps having coach, being an official. I think being an official was really, really gratifying. I really enjoyed it. And of course, I did that up until a time, and I know we'll talk a little bit more about my daughter when she got sick, and I had to cut way back on that. Worked for a wonderful man, Ron Zetcher, a local legend here, a Hall of Fame, Missouri Hall of Fame, and worked for him. And that was a great experience. Really, really enjoyed my time working in the SLIAC conference.
Now, with all your time-consuming job, I guess with the Plantations Golf Tour, you do find a way to broadcast basketball games on TV and radio, most recently with the Missouri State High School playoffs. How did that play out for you?
That was great. Yeah, that was really great, Todd. I really enjoyed that. Of course, I love that part of a side job, I guess you could call it. I really enjoyed the broadcasting. Jim Powers, good buddy of mine, who I had met through officiating, really spearheaded all that. He was the one that really got me involved and started doing work for KFNS with the high school sports caravan. We did high school games every Friday night. And then this year I had the opportunity to be color analyst for Fox Sports Midwest on the Missouri State High School Class 1, 2, and 3 games. So that was really, really fun. Really enjoyed that.
Neat. I saw you. It had been many years since I had seen you. I think I saw you I was broadcasting a high school game myself at Parkway West, and you were doing like a newsletter back then, and that was a lot of fun. And so you've really been involved in, I guess, in all aspects, coaching,
right,
writing, and analyzing.
I did, Todd. We did the River City Court Report. It's funny you say that. I was just kind of thumbing through some old issues, and it was basically a recruiting service that I did after I got out of coaching, and didn't make any money, but we had a great time. My wife would go with me. We'd go watch guys play and go evaluate them, and then the colleges would take our service. So yeah, I did that for a while, and then of course now we've recently been doing the broadcasting.
It was nice reconnecting with you at the Missouri Valley Tournament last year,
right, when
you and Harry Schrader were doing a bunch of the Missouri Valley games. Right. I mean, the Missouri Valley is an awesome conference. I don't think they get near the respect they deserve, and you got to do those games last year. That must have been a joy.
Yeah, it was really neat because I got to do Wichita twice last year. I did their quarterfinal game, the game where they were upset by Illinois State. And of course now with them being in the Final Four, I'm really happy for Coach Marshall, Coach Jans, those guys do a great job over at Wichita State, and really happy for them.
Now your son is playing ball at Parkway South right now, and he's having some early success as a freshman, and he's kind of following the footsteps.
Yeah, he's a real gym rat, Todd. He loves to play, and he's one of those guys that don't pop out on the box score, but he does all the little things. Captain of his freshman team, and we're very proud of him. He's a good young man.
We've got a couple minutes left here before we let you go, but tragedy did strike in your family, and it's always a horrible thing. And your daughter Lindsay, a student athlete at I guess Parkway South, and then she ended up passing away as a freshman in college. Can you tell us the story behind Lindsay and what happened?
Yeah, Todd, in 2005 she was diagnosed with a disease called scleroderma. It's a horrible disease, autoimmune disease. It's very uncommon, especially for young people. And Lindsay was diagnosed in 2005, and she had received a stem cell transplant up in Chicago, and we really thought she was on her way to recovery. Unfortunately, she was away at school at William Woods University about 10 days when she passed. Her heart had given out, and so it was really tragic. We try and keep her memory alive. We do a basketball tournament at Parkway South, and I can't say enough about the people, the staff at Parkway South for allowing us to do this, and we help raise money and raise awareness for this horrible disease. And the tournament's named in Lindsay's honor, and so we miss her. And it's one of those situations where the more awareness we can bring to the disease, it just will help people down the road.
Now, Paul, is there a website or a way you can contribute to the scleroderma?
Scleroderma Foundation, yes, it's a national foundation, and anybody can contact me, and I'm at ellispaul@sbcglobal.net, and you can contact me, and I'd be happy to give you the information and the contact information for the foundation.
So on the bright side, they're raising money for that foundation, so people in the future, they may be able to be saved.
There's no cure,
sooner.
that's right, and there's so many different awarenesses, Todd, for breast cancer, and as well there should be, and we just hope that scleroderma one day can get a little bit of recognition as well.
Well, Paul, thank you very much for
Todd,
joining us here at
great
Inside
to be here.
Sports.
Thanks so much for having me.
I know you're president now of the Plantations World Junior Golf Tour, and hopefully someday soon you'll be the owner as well.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Todd.
We're going to take a quick break now, but stay with us because when we return, Patty Fleschner from Gymnastics on Wheels will join us to discuss her exciting mobile gymnastics bus for kids. You won't want to miss it, and we'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Patty Fleschner with Gymnastics on Wheels. Keep watching Inside Sports with STL-TV.
We don't win unless we work together.
It's how we play our best.
It's how we survive on the field.
Now that same teamwork can save 13 million people
affected by the famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa.
Go to this site
and forward the facts to everyone you know. The more people who know,
the more money we can raise.
And the more money we raise,
the more people we can help.
Because saving lives doesn't take a lot.
It just takes a lot of us.
You realize that 49 million Americans struggle with hunger? That's 1 out of every 6 Americans.
These people are around us every day. They're our friends, they're our coworkers, their kids go to school with our kids.
Sometimes we're not even aware that they're struggling. This problem is closer than you think. So is the solution.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Patty Fleschner was a national champion gymnast from Southeast Missouri State University. After college, she worked as a therapist at Shriners Hospital for several years and has now been teaching gymnastics for over 25 years. At this time, we'd like to welcome Patty Fleschner to Inside Sports. Patty, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, Todd, for having me.
Gosh, you're a big-time gymnast in college down in Southeast Missouri. You're a national champion. What was so special about that team?
It was the best experience in my life. We all stuck together. We worked hard, very hard, lots of conditioning, but I'm telling you what, when it was all down to it, it was all mental. That's how we kept each other basically on the balance beam and won the national championship.
Fantastic. Now, what was your what did you do? What was your event that made you so famous and popular?
The balance beam was a big event, and so was vault for me. Those were the two that I did the best on.
So what is it about? What kind of conditioning did you have to do? Because I know you had a pretty nice coach down there, and he really worked you guys hard. And what kind of conditioning and things did he instill in you that allowed you to take it to such a high level?
He was amazing. What he would do is on the weekends, he actually took us rock climbing and brought us as a team. And it was very difficult, and it was a great challenge, and it made you feel really nervous and excited at the same time. And you were a little scared, but it was great because as a team, it brought us together.
Now, who was your coach? I forgot his name, and did that allow your team to get a lot of camaraderie doing rock climbing and things like that?
Exactly. His name is Bill Hopkins, and he actually is the AD at Lindbergh High School right now.
No kidding. That's fantastic. And recently, a couple years ago, that team, I believe, got honored by Southeast Missouri State University, didn't it?
Yes, we are now in the Hall of Fame.
You're now in the Hall of Fame, so you'll forever go down in history there.
That's right.
You know, before we talk about your gymnastic bus, you've got some pretty cool family heritage. Can you tell us about your descendants? Because I was reading somewhere where you have like your great-grandfather or somebody.
It's a great-great-great-uncle.
Great-great-great-uncle was
it's all
like,
down at the Arch. He's actually on the video and everything, but his name was Baptiste was his name. Poirier.
Wow, and so I understand he was involved with President Lincoln and the Lewis and Clark expedition.
Yes, he was actually on the Lewis and Clark expedition, and he was commissioned by Senator Lincoln at the time to go out to Colorado and start the first trade post.
So how did you feel? How did you hear about all that? How did you find out?
It's all in books.
Is it really?
Yeah, and
so you have
with
one
our
of those
family.
roots, those family tree things?
Yes.
Wow. Well, we brought you on here mostly to talk about your gymnastics on bus. Your, I guess, mobile gymnastics.
Gymnastics on wheels is what we call it.
Gymnastics on bus.
And always an adventure.
Now, what gave you the idea to do that? Because you were doing physical therapy with the Shriners Hospital. Obviously, you're a decorated gymnast, so it kind of seems like it would work well together, very much in sync.
Well, and it's so funny because I was at the point where I wanted to adopt the children and take them home with me, and my husband's like, oh my gosh, you have to do something more positive for yourself. This is crazy. Because it takes a little piece of you, when things don't work quite the way you want them to in the hospital situations. And this was a great experience because with the gym bus, it's always positive and never a dull moment. And you know what? We make a difference every single day.
Now, you've been doing it now for like 18 years. Now tell us how it works. How many buses do you have?
I have 2 gym buses that we take out each week. Monday through Friday. Yeah. And what we do is we go actually to the preschool center and we bring the children right on the bus, and all the equipment is set up for the gym bus.
That's cool. So what do you just like gut out a couple of buses and then just hook it up?
And it's wonderful because even the rings are suspended from the ceiling, and we have as much boys equipment as girls equipment. I think that's important for everyone to know too.
Now, where are some of the locations around St. Louis where your bus stops off? Is it revolving, or do you have some like solid staple areas?
Each week we go to the same center once a week. And so we're in Clayton and Hampton here on Tuesdays, right here, and we're actually out in Troy. We're all over the Missouri area, actually.
Now, how many kids do you have in your program?
Oh my goodness, Todd. I would say around 700 children.
700 children? Yeah. How do you find them all?
They kind of find us. My phone number is not even in the phone book. They usually call the other centers to find me because we'd love to be out for everyone at all the preschools, but obviously that's not.
What ages of kids do you have on your buses?
We start at the age of 2, and that's very unusual because it's wonderful. It's in a contained area, so the children learn really quickly that they go around the gym bus. It's a perpetual motion. It gets their anaerobic workout, heart rate going. Yeah. So important for them.
Now, how old can you be? Because at some point you might, be too big for the bus.
Well, and we have a gym time program that we have set up for after-school programs, and that's why we did that, because we saw the need. Parents would be calling and like, where can we go after the gymnastics program? And so now we do at like ICD out in St. Charles, we actually do a program for their after school program.
So you have like 3 sessions a day. Now, do you divide it up amongst age groups, like in the morning, noon, and afternoon, or how do you divide it up?
Well, we're usually at that preschool for the length of time that need be. So say there's 3 classes in the morning, we would stay there for 3:30. It's a 35-minute session. And it's $56 for 8 weeks, which is unheard of for gymnastics.
So it also seems like it doubles as childcare.
Well, it's wonderful because it does get them out of the school. They get to come right out onto the bus, right from the front door of the preschool center. So, and you know, children with buses, that's magical in itself.
Oh, they love it. I'm looking here at one of the articles in the St. Charles County Post. So you've been actually, acknowledged out there. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Basically, they did the same thing. They just want to know more about it. I love that people are very interested in our program, and more that it's such a positive program. Again, never a dull moment for the kids. They remember it forever. I actually had a couple children that are now seniors in high school graduating, and they're coming back and said it was the best experience in their life.
Oh my gosh. So I guess you have several other instructors that work with you?
Oh yes, yeah, there's 6 of us right now, and then there's several for my gym time program.
But now you're involved as well. I mean, are you down there getting dirty with the boys and girls?
Every day.
Now, you look like you're still in fantastic shape. Can you still, do flips and get on the balance beam?
As much as I can, I try to do that. I'm still doing headstands in the bus and flipping on the rings. I'm the one who shows them all the good things to do.
So you teach, so then they see that you can do it, and they're like, well, heck, if she can do it, we can do it as well.
Lead by example, isn't that true?
Well, let's go down some of your fitness program here. I know you have some bullet points, and let's go through some of the things you offer. Obviously, you discussed the cardio movement. That's very important. It's really big right now. They say play 60. That means the kids need to get off their couch and quit texting. How important is that to get kids off their cell phones and texting and get them out and doing something to move around?
And their experience. They need to be out there learning new things. And I'm telling you what, it just builds their self-esteem so much. I did it, Miss Patty, I did it. They just cannot wait to learn something new, and it makes them feel so good. And I think that's what it's truly about.
What kind of joy do you get when you see the kid come in, the young kid, and they don't even know how to do a somersault, and they're on the balance beam and they can't do it. But then by the end of the program, when you see the confidence that's instilled in them, how does that make you feel?
That's what to me, that's the most important thing I do. And I'll tell you that with the little ones especially, they never have had an opportunity, and at the end of in May, they get a trophy, and they think they sleep with it. They think that's the most golden thing. It's the first time most of them have ever gotten a trophy.
Now tell us about some of the other things on the bus. I see you have trampoline, you have monkey bars, and then you've got this little thing with vocabulary in each one. What are all the different devices and apparatuses that you offer?
I have to tell you the favorite. The favorite is the zip line. They get to actually vault onto we have like a pommel horse and a vault. They get to vault onto that and take the zip line, and they have to hold their whole body up all the way across the bus. And it is so amazing to watch. These little bitty ones can actually get up in a tough position and hold their body all the way across the bus.
Patty, we have about a minute left. If someone wants to get involved with your programs, Gymnastics on Bus, the gymnastics bus, where would they go? And what different areas? I know you said you had one in Clayton, one in Hampton, but I think don't you offer one in St. Charles?
Yes, we're out in St. Charles, St. Peters, O'Fallon, Winsville, everywhere. North County.
And can you give us some numbers or a website that someone can visit right now if they would like to get involved? Because do you have open enrollment right now, or are you full?
Yes, for preschool centers.
Do you deny anybody when you get full?
Well, honestly, we can usually just staff it. We have enough to staff it so we won't be full, and we can obviously get a third gym bus.
And so is there a website someone can sign up at?
I'll give my number. It's 636-477-4946.
All right.
And that's how they can get a hold of me at any time.
Well, Patty, congratulations on your great success. And thank you for what you're doing for the community, because these kids really seem to love what you're doing, and you seem to have so much passion for it.
I love it.
And we appreciate you coming on.
Thanks so much.
All right. Well, now it's time for our Inside Sports Flashback. joining us now is Brian Schwarzy. Brian's the grandson of Stan Musial. And, you know, Brian, you pretty much took care of Stan a lot over the last 10 years or so. Stan's gone, but this is a celebration of his day. The Cardinals are going to be honoring him with a patch number 6 on their shoulders all year long. And, you know, what a tribute to such a great man.
It really is, and the Cardinals are a class organization, and I wouldn't expect anything less from them to do something like that. I mean, it's going to be, I call it the Chinese New Year Stan, because we're going to be seeing him everywhere this year. But, I mean, don't get me wrong, he deserves it. And we will, you know, it will be a celebration all year long.
Now, riding in the years, you know, in the pregame parade, we've seen you and Stan kind of riding through the crowd. Yeah, and being in the All-Star games and all that, riding with Stan, with all the fans going crazy. How'd that make you feel?
Well, I didn't deserve to be out there. I just happen to be a grandson of a tremendous athlete. You know, it's hard to take in. That's why you always saw me up with a camera. Like, I was just a fan taking pictures. I just happened to be back in the golf cart.
He was such a happy-go-lucky guy, and you know the way he dressed in the plaid pants with the red jacket, Jack Buck and red chain. Everybody wants to dress like that, and you know he was such a classic guy. Liked to play his harmonica and everything. And there is the Stan Musial aura of the Cardinals. You can see it all through the late 50s and the 60s into today. How much his presence is felt is amazing.
Well, I just found this out the other day. I saw it in the Loop Rock, and he said that Stan actually started the red jacket. And that's what it's come into today, and that's why the Cardinals now actually all have Hall of Fame red jackets, because Stan started that.
It's pretty classy how the Cardinals put the number 6 patch on their uniforms to commemorate Stan's legacy. Isn't that pretty special, the Cardinals do that?
Well, he's number one. He's always been number one, the number 1 Cardinal of all time, and the number 1 citizen of all time. But even more importantly than that, you know, years ago, back in the 60s, they had a poll, a national poll, on who was the most trusted man in America. And they had clergy, and they had military, and they had the political leaders. Stan Musial won hands down. Now that shows you what kind of a citizen he was. When he retired, I was fortunate enough to be on the team and his teammate at the time, and they had a function for him in every city. We went in, you know, and he retired. And they're going to have a function for him in every city we go in now to celebrate his life, and it couldn't happen to a better man and a better family.
You know, the one thing I remember on Stan is the plaid pants. He kind of brought the plaid pants and the red jacket, and Jack Buck and everybody seemed to follow suit.
Well, let me tell you something about Stan Musial. I played high school football with his son, all right? So I was over at his house when I was in high school, and he was just a dad, you know, to me at the time, besides being the great Stan Musial. But this guy loved to entertain people, and that's why he was so good on the field, besides all of his great ability. But when he played on the field, he wanted to entertain everybody. He wanted to hit, he wanted to throw and entertain. And it was no different when he was in his civilian clothes. He'd be at his restaurant, or he'd have his harmonica. And, hey, Charlie, how you doing? How's your wife? How you doing? And this and that. Play the harmonica. He just loved entertaining people.
Well, one time I'm at a function with Stan. He's there. He told a joke in the John. It was the worst joke in America. 8 of us were in there, and we all laughed and laughed and laughed. Stan laughed, and I said, that's respect. When you tell the worst joke in America and you get those kind of laughs.
Well, it's just not the same without you, Stan. You're going to be missed. Well, that's our show for today. We'd especially like to thank our studio guests for coming in, Artiga Photos for the great set pictures, and to you for watching. I'm Todd Blackstock. Thanks for watching Inside Sports. We'll see you next time.